In a blog post shared this last Friday, February the 11th, Cameron Rich, whose name represents our goal over here, described at length the future plans for rewards balancing as End of Dragons is nearly upon us. The underlying goal is to change the means of acquisition of the more expensive materials, all the while trying to correct the discrepancies in endgame content. Indeed, as EOD will be launched with 4 new strike missions, it appears clear that ArenaNet, which has already steered clear from dungeons and raids, now plans to relocate fractals to the all-encompassing table where projects go to be put on indefinite hold. Without further ado, let's dive right into the topic. Strike missions are now the cornerstone of endgame content, and before we start debating in the comment section, let me state my opinion. I personally think that this is quite alright. Guild Wars 2 is a casual game which main audience consists of players who come and go with the updates. Often do they limit their weekly playtime to a couple days, resulting in a clear disinterest from rewards pertaining to daily repeatable content. On that topic, we were served some great news. The encounters now have what they call pass or fail mechanics, which is something that the player base, both casual and hardcore, has always desired. Bypassing mechanics is only fun for a time, and if it wasn't intended as a possible way to clear by the developers, then we really shouldn't be doing it as a default. And as a bonus, we get challenge modes for every one of the 4 new strikes shipping with EOD. So what's the issue with the blog post really? Sure, raids and fractals look a tad abandoned, but we surmised that much already. Well, we find the culprit in the second part of said blog post. Rewards are being adjusted. ArenaNet has shots at everything in game, but instead of bringing out the sniper rifle, they pressed the red button for a nuclear strike. After confirming that Mystic Coins are key to balancing endgame rewards, with them being used to make the heavily sought after Mystic Clovers, they briefly added a misleading bit, and that is that Fractal Challenge Modes are the main source of Mystic Coins, and that they thus decided to fix that and make other endgame content as attractive to legendary crafters as Fractals could be. However, while they could have simply beefed up rewards in other instances, they instead nuked Fractal Rewards, bringing the drops from 1 to 3 Mystic Coins per boss in Challenge Mode down to 0. As if that wasn't quite enough, they also decided to rework the vendors. They brought down the number of Mystic Clovers you can get from buy 4373 from 2 per day to 10 per week, and upped the cost by 1 Mystic Coin. Sure, it is still better than throwing your coins at the forge for clovers, but it represents an extra sink to Mystic Coins. Yet, the picture isn't as bleak as it might seem, as ArenaNet confirmed this was done in order to offer similar rewards in other endgame content. Strikes are now bestowed with a reworked currency system, from the tricolor shards to them being blue for Iceberg strikes and green for EOD strikes. Green shards will be exchangeable for 5 Mystic Clovers per week at a vendor, with there being an option to also exchange the shards for Mystic Coins. Raids were not forgotten this time around, as the vendor will now offer an exchange at the same rate as the strike vendor, up to 10 times a week. So all in all, if we were to compare the previous and the new system, we previously had 1 to 3 Mystic Coins per challenge boss mode in Fractal, and could exchange one of them alongside 3 globs of ectoplasm, 2 spirit shards and some currency for a single clover twice a day. Now we don't have the drops anymore, but we can get 10 per week from the strike vendor. Vendors now take 2 coins, 2 ectoplasms and 2 spirit shards regardless of which game mode they hail from for a single clover, but you can get 25 per week. We can see this heavily favors players that do not log in to play daily. Of course, the hardcore crowd was quick to take the arms to Reddit, as the official forums do not welcome them nearly as much and voiced their discontent. They felt robbed of the hard work and forgot that future changes do not impact past achievements. Except this time, they were given proper answers from ArenaNet, which we will now go over. The first thing that Solar did on that post was to clear the misconception induced by the blog post, and that was that the main source of Mystic Coins hitting the game was from fractals. Indeed, that's not where they come from, as 93% of the Mystic Coins in the game are generated by login rewards. Once again, We're taking one for the team by logging our 30 alt accounts daily, aren't we? But alongside that, Solar gave us some actual data on the drop rates, and it really shows that Fractal CMs, which weren't even touched by 85% of the player base, according to Guilders 2 efficiency stats, are a rather poor source of Mystic Coin, with an average of 2 Mystic Coins per day from doing all 3 challenge modes. This averages to about 54 Mystic Coins a month, and by month I mean a 28-day cycle, assuming you're doing all your CMs daily without missing a single boss. As a reminder, logging an alt account over that period gets you 20 Mystic Coins only. Bringing this Mystic Coin drop to 0, the way ArenaNet is shipping it, is akin to dedicated Fractal CM players losing on about 2.5 to 3 gold a day based on the Mystic Coin pricing. Although I understand the ire, it is quite alright, especially when compared to how badly Dungeons got axed. Yes, this is totally a "but I had it worse than you" moment. Because Dungeons got obliterated without any counterpart, while the Mystic Coins from Fractals are being shifted to another content to make them more accessible. Indeed, from having to do Fractal CMs daily for 28 days to get 54 Mystic Coins, we have gone to Strike Mission Vendor offering up to 40 per 4-week cycle, provided you do normal difficulty twice a week. It's nothing out of reach for the hardcore players, nor the regular ones even. So all in all, this is a net positive for the player base, albeit a low blow to the more hardcore Fractal runners. So what about the economic implications of these changes? From everything I've said before, we can easily conclude that we will have an increased Mystic Coin generation rate, but we must keep in mind the fact that they aren't dropped, but instead exchanged for. This means that as we get to see everything else that will be available on said vendors, we'll be able to determine what's a correct going rate for the Mystic Coins. They might not be the best thing to get, and we will know about that in just over a week. What we can assume for now is that Mystic Coins are still going to be a very central item in the game when it comes to crafting and game gear, most probably including Generation 3 legendaries. ArenaNet has given us much more accessible faucet for them, but it will still pale in comparison with login rewards. As we get the player influx of the End of Dragon expansion and the future Steam release, we will most definitely see the price go down for a few days, maybe weeks, then pick up as players start crafting their new legendaries. In the eventuality that we don't get much content past the EOD release, the price should hike up. An active player base is needed for Mystic Coins to be generated at a fast pace, and at the end of the day, our alt accounts don't amount to much when compared to these gamers. And on this conclusion, it's also the video that's being concluded. Thanks again to all my amazing patrons who make these videos possible. This video is totally sponsored by the existence of that page where a single dollar a month can get you solid insights into gold making and the Guilders 2 economy. Do not hesitate to check out my other videos to get started on your journey to riches, and stay tuned for more content. This means you gotta like, comment and subscribe, all the while toggling that notification bell on. On another note, keep an eye out on Twitch for some more content around this topic coming your way sooner than ever. And with this said, I wish every single one of you some happy trading and to get rich.